Oof. Well, let's get right into it. Today, we're discussing an original fiction piece. I know, right? From a channel that primarily talks about fan fiction, I'm actually reviewing an original piece. It's true. Today, we are discussing an Asian translated novel named What Do You Mean All My Ex Girlfriends Are Witches? On the website WTR Lab. Yes, besides translating fan fictions, this website also translates original fiction as well. Anyway, as we speak, or as we currently speak, novel has 111 translated chapters with 4.41 or 4.1 star rating at 10 reviews. Just based off the title, you can sort of tell this novel veers more into the supernatural aspect of things, specifically around the concept of European witches. So, when reading this novel, expect to see various depictions of magic, and not just the standard wand swinger seen in Harry Potter. No, expect to see magic on the potential scale of literally commanding concepts. Note this similar to how Devil and Chainsaw Man encapsulates the concept of humanity's fears or a specific humanity fear. Before going on, I just want to warn the readers that perhaps due to this being a translated fiction, it is lacking in the fundamental detail aspect. This is not to say the fiction is unreadable, it is, and very well translated. But for those readers that enjoy detailed exposés, protagonists going on internal monologues, or just in general large detailed writing concerning the environment or scenes, well, don't expect much. Style of fiction veers more on the interpersonal reactions between the cast of characters, with emphasis on one on one interactions concerning lost love, romance, or just general dialogue in a sense. The novel is written very much like a Gal game, where most of the story is told via dialogue in the present sense between characters. That's not to say there is no world building, there is, just that the author keeps a tight leash on it to avoid long winded exposes that are, or or the detail was truly lost in translation. Anyway, with the warning out of the way, the fiction follows the protagonist Yang Lin, who lives in a semi-futuristic setting where, as seen in Sword Art Online or in the Overlord anime series, his world has had large advancements in the realm of VR gaming, to the point where a person just needs to put on the helmet and they are sucked into the game, experiencing it firsthand. Like, we're talking about really experiencing it in terms of starving to death, illness, freezing to death, etc. The player essentially can feel it in game, even if they can't toggle the settings up or down. Well, Jiang Lin is focused on playing a specific Gao game where he tries his best to win the heart of the given female protagonist during each different save file. But the catch here is that in order to get exclusive classes, he must first influence the storyline in a rather scummy way. Essentially, he must make the female protagonist fall in love with him and then somehow cause her enough despair upon his death that they are transformed into a witch. Witches in the fiction essentially being women who, through various means and psychological trauma, have become liberated from the shackles of humanity and go on to embody a concept that is closest to their life or personality. Jiang Lin's goal as a player is to essentially make the female NPC undergo apotheosis, resulting in him receiving in game benefits and rewards, XP, etc. When the novel first starts out, we know that he has caused at least 5 NPCs within the story to undergo witchification. And just as he's about to end one playthrough and call it a night, He receives an email from the developers asking Jiang Lin if he wants to experience a new beta for the game. As a fan of the game, he says yes. Once Jiang Lin puts the helmet back on, he is wholly flesh and blood transmi- transmigrated to the game, roughly 200 years after his last save file. It is here we are given more context on the world, which honestly reminds me a lot of the background of One Punch Man. Essentially, the world within the game is besieged by monsters called Bazaars that are born from humanity's emotions and through their imagination and suffering. Similar to how an urban legend like Jack the Ripper suddenly comes to life and starts murdering people in alleys. In order to combat these monsters, humanity has formed an association of protectors where instead of having superpowers as in One Punch Man, the people here have access to mana and mystical things like classes bestowed upon them by the heavens to survive. Well, in the context of Jiang Lin, literally within zero point 0.2 seconds of being transmigrated, he comes face to face with the Japanese urban legend of the slit-faced woman, who asks him the question, is she pretty? A question with no real answer, as whether you say she's pretty or ugly, she kills you. Make matters worse, Jiang Lin only transmigrated with his real body, meaning all of the skills from his previous game characters are not present. He only has the knowledge of how to perform magic without the necessary hardware, meaning he doesn't have the mana to do it. As a result, in order to live, he invokes magic that was once designed by him and one of the previous female NPCs that he witchified, something that doesn't directly need his mana. Although the magic succeeds and saves his life, the instant the magic is invoked, it lets the witch who has been searching for his departed soul for 500 years lock on to his position, essentially kickstarting the whole story. Overall, despite what you may expect, the majority of witches, despite becoming inhuman monsters in their own right, still love him in their own twisted ways. So the novel becomes a story of Jiang Lin essentially trying to live on while being the object of obsession for this twisted love. The witches themselves loving him so much that they are quite willing to drown the world or enslave thousands of souls just to hold him again. As mentioned before, Jiang Lin calls 5 witches to be born, 1 being the puppeteer witch of manipulation, 2 being the tidal witch, witch of the tides, 3 being the winter maiden, 4 being the saintess, witch that embodies the concept purity of light, and finally dawn, twilight, and dusk, witch who embodies the 3 aspects that I just said. Overall, I consider this a good read, and I do recommend people to actually read it. And with that, I think I've given enough details for the original piece of fiction. For those that are interested, the link is in the description below.